So it's time for the prediction and cursing. Cursediction? Let's roll with that, I believe. For the Copenhagen Major Phase 2, Day 1. And since this will only cover the Day 1, Round 1 matches, which are best of ones, I will try to do both who I believe will win, but also in a way of what I believe the score will be. So let's start off with match 1, which will be W7M against Scars. And I had my doubts about W7M coming into Phase 1. They quickly turned those doubts into stretch. And yeah, they looked quite good. And Scars, on the other hand, is the team that's ranked first in the Japan League. And going off how APAC look at Phase 1, I can't really say I have any hopes for Scars. Like, I would wish for a APAC type of upset, and the earlier the more fun, possibly. But I just don't see any world where Scars, a Japanese team, will beat one of the stronger Latin teams. So I will just put some green here, signaling that I believe W7M will win, and I believe we might see a score that reads something along the lines of, see if I can just get this to look good, because I love paint. And see, so I believe Scars might be able to get like a few rounds, a handful. Like, I'm gonna say a 7-3 to W7M though, still, because I still have more believe in W7M in Latin than I do of any APAC. Then one Kia against Sonics now though, and this is a bit of a interesting one though, I would say, because I do believe that that one has been on a bit of a downhill actually since the Korean League. Like, if you look at the Korean League, they had a quite good Korean League, to be honest. And when they went into playoffs, even though you can question APAC and Korea, they had against 3 different teams. At least one map they went to 7-1, to down 1, or D+ as they are now known. And that's something you have to consider. But then you also have Gamers Without Borders, where they just didn't look as sharp. Sonics though, on the other hand, their group, most people would have predicted them to go out, so they did, and their group wasn't the hardest. They went out convincingly out of the group. This can be a better match, but if I have to put my money, I actually would say that one will just find something that SQ will have overseen, or just play a better match. I believe that the matching would be crucial for this. So I just will say that I believe if we are to see one team succeed over the other, I believe we can see a close match, but DK taking it 7-4 actually would be my final scoring. And I believe that's a fair one. I still believe Sonics is a good team. I just believe that coming into a best of one, things can happen. Maps can always be playing a part of things. Now though, Liquid against Reven. And for this one, I just don't really see a world where Reven wins. Like, sure, they had fun matches in their group, but they won 2 APAC teams. It was fun to watch, especially the Northern game, which I believe was one of the more fun games to watch a bit casually, because it was just chaos. If you want to talk strategy wise, it wasn't, but Liquid is just, from what you can see in Brazil, just on a whole nother level. And I just believe that them changing out Volps into Volps from Ask has just done them so much good, and they are just looking to be on fire, and I believe Liquid should also be one of the favorites to win all of the majors. So, who do I say will take it? Well, obviously Liquid, and I would say this will be one of the most one-sided matches of day one in a 7-1 actually. Now to then move into the Falcons Dark Zero match. And this is potentially the match I'm looking forward the most, because I just really liked what Falcons did in the group stage phase 1. They played a really solid siege, and I believe that this is a team we will see much more of, just from quickly seeing what they did in phase 1. But you also have Dark Zero, which from the NA League, they looked quite convincingly good in best of ones. So, who do I believe? Well, I believe this will be a close match. I actually believe this will be an overtime match. But I believe that this is a momentum-based match. You know, this can go either totally one-sided, or it can be one of the closer matches for day one. And I just believe that if Falcons feel themselves, if they can get their guns off, they can start to rack up rounds. But the same can go for DC. And it can also be met in the middle. Basically, momentum-based. But who do I believe at the end will take it? Well, I do believe that Falcons are just on that upset, feeling themselves kind of, oh, we're actually doing this, our region is finally at a T1 event, and I just believe that this can be so huge for Falcons as well, but I will say 6-8 to and Falcons win it. Now then to move on to the Face M&M match. And both of these teams I would say are quite alright in best of ones. Face, they had a okay stage for the Brazilian league when they had the best of one phase. But it wasn't the best, but it was alright. M&M, they had also a quite okay one, though I would say better because they went 3 wins in regulation, whilst they had 3 wins, whilst 2 were in overtime. But who do I believe more in? Well, M&M, I have saw some issues they did during the phase 1 of the major, and I believe that a team like FaZe can find those, exploit those even more than the teams that M&M played. And at the end of the day, I just believe that FaZe is a stronger team than M&M, and that's why they will end up winning. So I'm gonna put the green on FaZe. I do believe we can say quite good and close match, but I don't really see M&M taking it, so I'll say FaZe takes it 7-4, and we are gonna see quite convincingly. And to now, one of the matches I'm really excited to see, M80 against Wolves. And some people are saying that they believe M80 will win the whole thing. And well, sure, they are a stacked group, but I believe that they can have some humps in the early matches here, where they are still in best of one situations. And that's looking from when they last played in best of ones, which was in NA, when they went 3 regulation wins, 1 overtime loss, and 3 regulation losses in best of 1 situations. And Wolves, on the other hand, they didn't either have a good stage for in Europe, where they had best of 1s. They had 2 overtime losses and 2 regulation losses. So, but I would say that Wolves did do some good at the best of 1s they played in phase 1. Sure, 1 loss, 1 win. They lost to W7M. But who at the end of the day do I believe is the better team and will take it? Well, I do believe we can see some upsets, like maybe. I believe that if we're gonna see a big upset, it can totally be Wolf. Because I still believe that if, as we saw in some games, certain of the players just activated, really started hitting their shots, the calls looked really smooth. And from MAT, what I can say on them, sure, they are looking really good. Whilst I am not saying I believe they will win, I believe they will be a top contender, but I believe that they will start off with a loss against Wolves. And that the loss will be in a 7-5 fashion. And now then, to move on to the G2 SSG match. And this one, though, on the other hand, from the Wolves MAT game, this is 2 teams that are really good in the best of 1 situations we have seen so far. For G2, in Europe, when they played in best of 1s, they looked really good. They had a solid win record for best of 1s. And for SSG, same there with the NA League. They came tied first one with Dark Zero, but they ended up being second from round diff. Then in phase 1, I was happily surprised with them. They looked to be better than I expected them to be. And I know that SSG is known for having a good staff back off, so that they can analyze G2. And one thing I believe is against G2 is that they are actually the world champions. They are a team people study intensively. And if you are a team like SSG, I believe that you are just really VOD reviewing them, looking at everything you have to just be able to beat G2. This is a overtime match in the making, I totally believe. But I just believe that, there are some elements to a team like G2 that you just really can't look over from what they currently are. And it's, if you look outside of how TSM did last year, normally a team that just won the World Championships normally comes out swinging, doing really good at the next major. And that's just singly why I believe G2 are going to win. Because they are, after all, currently the world champions. They are currently the world's best team. Because of that. But I'm saying a 8, 6, G2 SSG. And now then for the final match of the day. NIP against Wolf VP. And this one it can go in either way, really. Whilst VP's is a really strong team, they have a really strong, they know how to play, and they know what they want to do in each round. The thing though with VP is that they are having the same issues that they have had for years. They have a very short map pool. They aren't really the ones that come up with wings on the fly, and they are very stick to the strat book type of team. And Nip, I'm happy with what they did in the groups. They played solidly. They did some mistakes, especially in the first 6 karma match where they lost. But the question I believe here is, will NIP, take it that extra bit slowly and, ensure, or will they be, a bit sloppy with the droning utility usage? It can be, I believe it comes down more to how NIP plays than how Virtue Pro plays. And whilst I believe Virtue Pro have a bit of an advantage, I'm gonna say NIP. I don't really know why, but I'm gonna say, I just have a gut feeling that NIP will do, or they will see something that Virtue Pro ain't prepared for, and that's why VP gets a 5-7 against NIP. So looking over how I believe that the day will go, we'll start off with a quite convincing win for W7M, followed by a surprise from D+, then to a strong win over from Team Liquid, followed by a close Dark Sierra Falcons match, to a quite normal score for a Face M&M match, followed by a nail biter of the Wolves M80 match, a really good match against G2 SSG, and to end it off, a fantastic Virtue Pro NIP. So if you are predicting on anything, go against these, because I know I will have about 0% correct. See you for round 2.